People covered their noses when Princess Neka walked by. Her body odor was so strong that even the palace guards found reasons to avoid her. She was the king's only daughter, but no man wanted to marry her, not even the poorest farmer in the village. Her presence alone cleared pathways in the bustling market, and whispers of her misfortune traveled faster than the royal messengers. Princess Neka was not like the other girls in the kingdom. She was large, towering over even the strongest warriors. Her skin glistened with sweat no matter the weather, and the scent that followed her made people gag. The palace maids bathed her in the finest oils, but nothing worked. Suitors came from far and wide to ask for her hand, only to leave as soon as they met her. Some left politely, others ran as if chased by wild dogs. Her father, the king, was desperate. He called upon the best healers and herbalists, offering riches to anyone who could cure his daughter. Some tried, using powders, oils, and rituals, but nothing changed. The people whispered that she was cursed. That the gods had punished the king by giving him a daughter no man would ever love. Her mother, the queen, wept in secret, fearing that her child would live and die alone. Neka, despite it all, remained strong. She rarely cried, though she often sat alone under the great baobab tree in the palace courtyard, staring at the horizon. She wished, not to be beautiful, but simply to be accepted. She knew she was more than her weight, more than her odor, more than the disgust people showed her. But in a world that only saw what was on the outside, she felt invisible in the worst way. Then, one day, a wandering herbalist named Jide arrived in the village. He had heard whispers of the cursed princess and wanted to see for himself. When he met her, he did not cover his nose. He did not flinch. He simply looked at her and said, "I can help you." The palace erupted in laughter. Many had tried to cure her, but none had succeeded. Still, the king was willing to try anything. Jide stayed in the palace and began preparing special herbal mixtures. He gave Princess Neka strange teas and applied natural paste to her skin. He adjusted her diet, incorporating foods known for cleansing the body and aiding digestion. He encouraged her to move more, to spend time outside, to breathe fresh air. For months, he worked tirelessly, and slowly, changes began to show. First, the odor faded. The palace servants noticed it first, how the air no longer carried the stinging scent that used to linger wherever she walked. Then, her body began to change. The weight that had made movement difficult melted away, and soon, she was unrecognizable. At first, people whispered that it was a trick. That the princess they saw walking gracefully through the palace gardens was not the same woman who once struggled to move. But it was her. Her skin glowed, her hair thickened, and when she walked through the village, men who once avoided her now followed her with longing gazes. Princes from distant lands came bearing gifts. Wealthy traders wrote songs about her beauty. Artists painted her likeness, and poets composed verses about her transformation. The same people who once laughed at her now worshipped her. But Jide did not change how he looked at her. One evening, as the sun set over the palace walls, Neka found Jide sitting under a tree, grinding herbs. She sat beside him and asked, "Why did you help me?" Jide smiled. "Because I saw something in you that no one else did." Neka looked away for a moment. She had spent her whole life being seen as a burden, an embarrassment, something to be fixed. Now, she was admired, but only Jide had seen her before she became beautiful in their eyes. As the days passed, suitors lined up outside the palace, eager to win her hand. The king hosted grand feasts, inviting only the richest and most powerful men to impress his daughter. They brought gold, fine fabrics, and rare animals as gifts. Yet none of them truly saw her, they only saw what she had become. But when the time came for her to choose a husband, she shocked the entire kingdom. She chose Jide. The king was furious. "You can have anyone," he said. Why pick a mere herbalist? Princess Neka smiled. Because he saw me when no one else did. The king tried to refuse, but Neka stood firm. For the first time in her life, she felt truly seen, not as a problem to be fixed, but as a person worth loving. And so, against all expectations, the princess and the herbalist were married in the grandest ceremony the village had ever seen. At first, the people gossiped. They said she had made a foolish choice, that she could have been a queen. But in time, they came to understand. Jide's knowledge spread throughout the land. He taught others his methods, and soon, people from all over the kingdom came seeking his help. Some wanted to lose weight, others wanted clear skin or stronger bodies. He shared his knowledge freely, believing that health and beauty were not reserved for the wealthy or the royal but for anyone willing to care for themselves properly. Princess Neka, once rejected by all, now became a beacon of hope. She helped women in the village who struggled with the same things she had. She spoke to young girls, reminding them that their worth was not in how others saw them, but in how they saw themselves. In time, Jide and Neka built a life that was more than a fairy tale, it was a legacy. Their home became a sanctuary where people from near and far came not just for physical healing, but for guidance and wisdom. They raised children who learned the values of patience, self-care, and kindness. When the king saw the happiness his daughter had found, he too began to understand. He saw that true love was not about power or riches, but about seeing beyond what the eyes could capture. And so, the kingdom, which once mocked Neka, now celebrated her. And thus, Princess Neka and Jide's story was told for generations, not as a tale of vanity or transformation, but as one of acceptance, resilience, and love beyond appearances. Beauty is not just about how you look, but about who values you when no one else does.